Hi everyone, it's Slud here. In this video, I'm bringing you a quick guide on the top 5 best way to farm gear in Diablo 4. So if this is going to be your first time playing Diablo 4 on the open beta, this will be the guide for you in terms of how to gear the easiest, basically what content is worth it and what not. So the first one we're looking at is the world boss. This is by far the best one as it drops a ton of gear. Now I will also say this, it requires a decent amount of either damage or getting carried by others. I would highly recommend not doing the world bosses unless you're about level 20 or higher, as you basically will be carried and you won't really contribute and you might actually fail the world boss. So don't be the guy getting carried basically, as there can only be up to 12 players on the actual world boss at a one given time, and it's very easy to fail this boss if you have too many low level players. But basically the world boss itself will drop up to 6-9 legendaries by itself, and it'll also drop you an extra cache called the Asher's Spoils, which will also give you another few legendaries. So basically the world boss can easily grant up to 9 or even 10 legendaries by one kill. So definitely make sure you try and get at least one of these kills during the weekend. The next best way is to farm a level 35 rare mob that spawns in a certain place. Now this is also by far the most boring way, but it's also very efficient and grabs you a ton of high level items you can then use. It's on the map here, and basically you go over here, you farm this guy, and if you get lucky you'll get some really good items like these boots here. It's by far the best way to get high level items, but it's also extremely boring. So you do this way if you are a loot goblin and you just want the best loot possible. Now let's say you get a high level item from this guy or any other place in the game. If you have an item that is too high level, you can actually go over and enchant it. You can also put an aspect on your weapon. So basically currently if you put an aspect on a weapon, you'll reduce the level requirement of that item to what the aspect requires. So basically you can actually put on higher level items than you're supposed to by doing the little aspect trick here. So you put the item in, you put an aspect in as well that you extract from the other item, and then you get an item you can now put on even though it's a higher level requirement than it used to be before. And the third best way is actually doing strongholds. So over the map there will be events called strongholds. This one here is called Dragon Grounds. Basically you go in and you with all the people kill a certain boss or do certain objectives. Now you can also get unlucky like me and not get a single legendary, but these items will in general have higher eye level than the other ones. Basically the higher eye level it has, the higher stats it can also roll. So these strongholds are really fun. It's a nice little extra thing you can do once in a while. Make sure to do them if they pop out on your map. There'll be a little time slider which basically indicates if they are timing down, so you can go and do them. And the fourth best way is actually doing dungeons. Now this without real crazy amount of loot, but it's by far the most consistent and of course repeatable content. It's also the most fun in my opinion, as the dungeons are pretty well made and you can really min-max your build to do it the fastest and the strongest. And if you're just gonna farm one dungeon over and over again, the best one by far is called Dead Man's Stretch, and that's by far the highest density, the least amount of running, and you also don't have to backtrack as much as your dungeons. And it can be found here in the bottom right corner of the map. I'd highly advise using the waypoint down here, teleporting here, go to a dungeon, and then once you've done a dungeon, simply use your action wheel, leave the dungeon, then reset it and go again. If you're wondering how, just simply open up your map, open up your quest log, and then reset dungeon down the bottom right corner. You can simply go in again and keep repeating the same dungeon over and over again if you wanted to. And then the last way is open world events. So once in a while where you're going through the map, you'll find events. Basically that'll be a red circle on the map showing you that something's happening, there's an event nearby. You simply just walk over here and you do the objective. It's usually quite easy. It's usually just kill some monsters, help a dude surviving, or basically this one you have to kill enough enemies within 3 pylons to activate them. These are usually quite worth it, especially compared to the time it takes, as you can just find them as you're running through the map, looking for your altars of Lilith, doing all the dungeons, whatever you might be doing. Make sure to do these events while going. And of course, you can just open the chest and you actually get a decent amount of loot. If you're looking for more Diablo 4 guides, make sure to check out the video on the screen now, as I think you also really enjoyed that video. And of course, as always, if you enjoyed this, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out, homies.